right, Thor Dykow here. It's This Week on Blu-ray and DVDs, and we begin with Jennifer Lawrence's Oscar-winning performance in Silver Linings Playbook. Let's take a look, and I'll explain about the story. Here you go.
When life reaches out at a moment like this, it's a sin if you don't reach back. I'm telling you, it's a sin if you don't reach back.
Yeah, one of the greatest movies of 2012 from director David O. Russell, who gave us The Fighter. And you've got Oscar-caliber performances courtesy of Bradley Cooper, Robert De Niro, Jackie Weaver. Awesome cast in this one. And Bradley Cooper's really trying to pick up the pieces. He just spent 8 months in a state institution. He's dealing with bipolar disorder. And he meets this mysterious girl, Tiffany, Jennifer Lawrence, who ended up winning the Oscar. She's a mysterious girl with problems of her own. The movie really deftly balanced comedy and drama so well, and it was a great family story, really well written and expertly performed by the actors. And it was one of De Niro's best roles in over 10 years. So don't miss Silver Linings Playbook. There's some great bonus features as well about all the stuff that went into making the production. But one of the finest of 2012. Don't miss Silver Linings Playbook. Next, we'll switch gears a little bit and talk about Gangster Squad. And this is set in 1949 Chicago. And it's about notorious gangster Mickey Cohen, played here in fine form by Sean Penn. And he's normally from the East Coast, but he's moving into the Chicago suburbs to try and, well, amp up the muscle. Check it out.
You want to take me away from all this and make an honest woman out of me?
No, ma'am. I was just hoping to take you to bed.
This isn't a crime wave. It's enemy occupation.
Well, you can't go wrong with that offer, can you? A star-studded cast in this one, including Josh Brolin, Ryan Gosling, Nick Nolte shows up for a little bit there, and Anthony Mackie. Unfortunately, the movie was really poorly written and full of cliches that we've seen in tons of gangster movies that came before it. It also was very style over substance oriented, and some of the violence was really out of place, almost like a comic book sort of over-the-top edge to it. So I wasn't really a big fan of Gangster Squad. I thought they really squandered all the talent in it. And once it was over, I totally forgot about it and didn't want to revisit it. But if you like the cast and you like the kind of period pictures of those gangster movies, personally, I'd just rather go see Boardwalk Empire myself because they do it better. But Gangster Squad not really living up to those others like the Untouchables and Untouchables and things like that. So that one in my mind is not a very good one. But we'll move on to a great one, The Impossible, starring Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts. She was nominated for an Oscar in this one, and it's a harrowing true story of one family's struggle to survive the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. And this is the real big scene that everyone's going to be talking about when they see this film, because they recreate the disaster and follows what happens in the aftermath of this family. They end up getting separated, and it is incredible. I mean, Naomi Watts gives such a powerhouse performance in this one. It's absolutely unforgettable. The kids are dynamite in it, and Ewan McGregor, always amazing to watch on the screen. There's some real terror in this movie, and some of the effects are astounding just in how they recreated that devastating tsunami that swept in there, because it's about a family that's just on a vacation and they're trying to, enjoy themselves, and lo and behold, bam, they're stuck with this tragedy. So the film follows them and how they end up reuniting. It's an incredible story. The bonus features get into what really happened with the true life story of the family and breaks down the special effects of that incredible sequence involving Naomi Watts. It is harrowing and heartbreaking at times to watch, but it's a powerful film, and again, one of the best of 2012 there. Don't miss The Impossible. And on the comedy side of things, this one kind of strikes out, unfortunately, and it's sad because you've got Seth Rogen, a comedy powerhouse, teaming up with Barbra Streisand, an icon in the industry, but this one doesn't quite work. Basically, Seth is an inventor, and he gets a little bit sort of guilt-tripped into, shall we say, taking his mom on a road trip to go and pitch his ideas all across the country. So you get a sort of planes, trains, and automobiles style that you've seen before. The two are very good, and they have natural chemistry together. They play off each other really well. The jokes are fast and furious, but the writing and the quality of them is not quite up to par from what we've seen in recent hilarious comedies, so it never really gets going. And they also have a couple of great actors relegated to tiny roles in the movie, so I thought their talents were kind of wasted. So they're kind of charming in the movie, Streisand and Rogen, but unfortunately this one is a miss because, again, they can't avoid all the cliches and the trappings of the normal videos in normal, movies of that genre. So for me, the guilt trip was a bit of they pass. Next, we're going to talk about Matt Damon. He's reteaming here with Gus Van Sant, who directed him in Good Will Hunting. And this is actually Promised Land, based on a screenplay that John Krasinski and Matt Damon came up with together. And they also star in the film. It's about Matt Damon, and he's working for a natural gas company, and he has to travel with Frances McDormand to a rural community that's really sort of dying, a farming community, and they're trying to sell off the land rights to these farmers and things like that. But, you know, things get complicated when these people come into town. I don't want to give too much away about the story, but there's an environmental activist, a school teacher, and a local woman who kind of make things a little bit complicated, shall we say, for this. Now, it's a good drama with a good comedy, nice screenplay written by Krasinski and Damon. They show that they're kind of a good duo in the Hollywood writing scheme of things. Nothing, you know, to write home about. It's not a sort of a classic by any means, and not laugh out loud hilarious. But I did enjoy the freshness of the screenplay. It's an interesting story, and you've got a great cast there with Damon, John Krasinski, and Frances McDormand, who is always fun to watch. And we finish things off, guys, with a documentary, and this is very powerful, from the director of Ken Burns, thank you, the director of Baseball, and countless other great documentaries. The Central Park Five. This is about a group of teenagers from Harlem who in 1989 were falsely accused of raping a white woman in Central Park. It follows their trials and tribulations. Have a look.
Last night, a woman jogger was found unconscious and partially clothed in Central Park.
A woman jogging in Central Park. Central Park was holy. It was the crime of the century.
New York in the late 1980s.
One of the best documentaries of 2012, and it's directed by Ken Burns, his daughter, and her husband. And these guys spent between 6 and 13 years in prison before the serial rapist actually confessed and said that he alone had committed the crimes. That led to their convictions being overturned, but it's set against the backdrop of this city that is basically beset by violence and racial tension. I had no idea that these problems were going on in New York and the Harlem area back in 1989, but it was a firestorm, and this case got a ton of media attention. There was public outcries, there was people that were outraged, and it was a huge miscarriage of justice in the New York system there. So check it out. It's a fascinating story, and it's got interviews with all the guys involved, so it's completely engrossing. The Central Park Five. You want to check this one out, because documentaries like this really matter, and these stories need to be told. You know, it's all fun to have the fiction and the comedies at times, but there are important films with real messages and true stories that need to be told. This is one of them, so don't miss the Central Park Five, especially if you're a Ken Burns fan. That's it, people. It's a loaded bag this week. I'm Thor Dykow. Check me out on Twitter at Thor Dykow. I'm here each and every week bringing you all the brand new releases on Blu-ray and DVD. See you next time.